Good evening, Gemma. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Inner Peas, good evening. Hope we both had a wonderful day today. Kitty, good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great day today. All the trivia questions tonight are on Dennis Rader, the B.T.K. killer. I love Scotland. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Hope you had a great weekend. Glad you could be here with us tonight. Callie Lisa, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Tonight we're answering questions on Dennis Rader, the B.T.K. killer. Hope you guys have your notes if you need them. Or use deductive reasoning, phone a friend, Google. Not cheating unless you consider it cheating. Seclusion works. Good evening. Hi there. I've been sent home on Friday. I'm being sent home on Friday. Where are you being sent home from? Seclusion works. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm glad you could be here today. I Love Scotland says, I had a horrible day, mate. Two people I knew passed on the same day. They were both 102 and 60. I am truly sorry for your loss. Truly sorry. Faith for alone. Good evening, RuPaul. Good evening, RuPaul. How you doing, sweetheart? I hope you've been doing well. Give it a couple more minutes here, and then we're going to get this going. I have been battling pneumonia and a lung infection. I'm truly sorry about that. Well, I hope that your health improves, quickly. Seclusion works. Truly do. It sucks being sick. And I know you're the last person we need to tell that to, right? I'm doing good, Gemma. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing well today. They put me in this place and no ice cream. Oh, no ice cream. Well, that would be terrible. Well, I hope your health improves so you can get out of wherever they put you, care facility wise. Or was the place that you were at had no ice cream and now you're at home or wherever they sent you to. All right, we're gonna get this party started here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 347th episode of True Crime Trivia. (347) Sprinkle Donut, good evening. This program documents actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. I am doing very well, RuPaul. Thank you for asking. I hope you are as well. This trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI and the Department of Justice. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculation, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on a topic, this event and topic may not be right fit for you. B.T.K. Bind, torture, kill Dennis Rader. And again, I want to stress that viewer discretion is strongly advised for some of the questions on tonight's trivia. They are written out exactly how they were as I came across them. So there are subjects and content here that may be disturbing to some people. So this is definitely not for anyone, under the age of 21, or if you're over 21 and you're an immature little, person. Dennis Lynn Rader was born March 9th. Yes, there's a reason why this is being done tonight. 1945, also known as B.T.K, an abbreviation he gave himself for bind, torture, kill, is an American serial killer who murdered at least 10 people in Wichita and Park City, Kansas between 1974 and 1991. Although he occasionally killed or attempted to kill men and children, Rader typically targeted women. His victims were often bound, sometimes with objects from their own homes, and either suffocated with a plastic bag or manually strangulated with a ligature. In addition, he stole keepsakes from his female victims, including underwear, driver's licenses, and personal items. Neither I nor my advertisers or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. It is restricted on YouTube and every platform that I stream to. Additionally, we are not liable for the comments or live chat messages, as these do not necessarily reflect our views or opinions. Again, that is not for YouTube, because I have some pretty good moderators who are here with us tonight on this platform. That is for the other places that I stream to where I do not have moderation set up in completely. With that in mind, question number 1 is on your screen right now for you to answer. What year did Dennis Rader commit his first murder? Was it A, 1999, B, 1974, C, 1972, or D, 1998? What year? And there's Will in his little window. Oh, almost knocked my microphone over. In court, he spoke like he won an Oscar or something. Did a silly speech. Oh, yeah. Dennis Rader, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware of it, is a sexual sadist. A sexual sadist. He truly believed that the people that came across that he hunted and killed they're so beneath him, they don't even qualify as for any kind of remorse for for what happened to them. I mean, that's truly how he believes. I like that. And I'm not saying how he did believe. No, that's how he believes right now today. He is an evil individual. Seclusion works. Question number 1, Lita. Good evening, Lita. Just in time there with your answer. I hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. The correct answer is, in fact, B as in boy. 1974 is when Dennis Rader committed his very first homicide. Question number 2. Who was the first known victim of the B.T.K. killer? Was it A, the Otero family, B, the Johnson family, C, the Doge family, or D, the Connor family? Who was the first victims? Who was the first victims of the B.T.K. killer? I can't recall his evil scale number. Where he registers on the most despicable. I can't remember what it is either. I'm sure maybe somebody remembers what it is. Left-handed RN, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Glad you could be here with us tonight. Question 2 of 20 on Dennis Rader, the B.T.K. killer, the creepy clown pick. The creepy clown, that would be John Wayne Gacy. As far as I know, Dennis Rader never dressed up as a clown. He may have, though. I mean, he was a family man. Life all planned, sandcastles built. I'm sure Kitty Q might know that where those lyrics came from. Family man. Family man. Life all built, sandcastle. All right, question number 2. The correct answer is A as in apple. The Otero family were the first victims of the B.T.K. killer. Question 3. What was unique about Josie Otero's murder compared to the rest of her family's murders? Was it A, she was hanged from a basement pipe? B, she was decapitated? C, she was stabbed, shot, and hanged? D, she was laid to rest in bed? Question number 3 of 20. What was unique about the Josie Otero murder compared to the rest of her family? Question 3 of 20. Smoke them if you got them. Yeah, but Dennis Rader lived a suburban house, life. He went to work. He had a family, wife. He volunteered in his community. He was everything that everybody thought was. Except for nobody ever thought, I bet this guy's a serial killer. No, that never crossed anyone's mind. Question number 3 of 20. The correct answer is A as in apple. She was hanged from a pipe in the basement. The rest of the family was dispatched in the upstairs part of the home. Josie Otero was taken to the basement where she was strangled and then hanged. He didn't actually kill her by strangulation. He hanged her in the basement from a pipe. That is what was different about her murder over the rest of her families. Did you know Dennis Rader kept a very detailed journal of every one of his crimes he had planned, along with notes on what he called the X factor to kill. He believed that I'm taking this directly from his confession to law enforcement. He said to the law enforcement officer, it does not specify which one of the 3 who were in the room he was talking to directly. He may not have been talking directly to any of them and just said it out loud. But he believed that there are certain people in this world who have the X factor. And those people who have the X factor are destined to go on to accomplish great things in life. Some people use their X factor for good. Some people use their X factor for evil. And others just don't ever use their X factor. And he believed that his X factor was for good. I'm not joking. He then went on to say later on that his X factor, after they asked him, was your X factor supposed to be for good or for evil? And he said, oh, it was for good. He believed truly again, and he still does to this day, that every one of his victims were beneath him, that they were nothing, that they don't deserve to live or be around. That's just what kind of man this, Dennis Rader is. Question number 4 of 20. Dennis Rader referred to all his victims as A, suckers, B, idiots, C, projects, or D, play toys. How did Dennis Rader refer to all of his victims? My peeps. Wow, I have been getting no notifications. Just got this one just now. I'm sorry, my peeps. The best thing to do is what I tell everybody is, get a Post-it note or a piece of paper and write it down on a piece of paper. Every single Sunday night, trivia is at the same time, 5 o'clock on the Pacific Coast time, 6 o'clock, Mountain, and 7 o'clock Eastern time zone. Every single Sunday. This is the 347th episode. I know the notifications don't go out. Sometimes I don't even get them. I do have another one of my channels that is subscribed to this, 411 now. And sometimes I don't get notifications when I'm going live either. It happens. That's their system. Dehumanizing the victims. Yes. Sprinkled Donut says that they never get notifications either. And that's sad. It is sad that the system doesn't work the way it was meant to be, to work. But Gianna Marie, good evening, Gianna Marie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. We are answering questions on Dennis Rader, the B.T.K. killer. Question number 4 of 20. The correct answer is C, as in cat. He considered and referred to every single one of his victims as projects. Projects, yes. Question 5. Typically, how long did Dennis Rader stalk his victims before attacking? Was it A, 24 hours, B, 48 hours, C, 5 days, or D, weeks? Gemma always gets notifications. Rupel never gets them. I'm sorry about that. How long did Dennis Rader stalk each and every one of his victims before attacking? Question number 5 of 20. He was a real scumbag. He is. He still is. Question number 5 of 20. The correct answer is D, as in dog. Weeks. In his journal, the private journals that he had written that the law enforcement were able to, get after he gave his confession and they served the search warrants on his home. They found these journals that he had written, and each and every one of them had a meticulous notes that he would take on each and every one of his victims to find out when they were the most vulnerable, when they went to sleep, when they went to work, How many people came in and out of the home? Did they make phone calls regularly? He kept notes while watching each and every one of his victims before attacking. And this would take weeks before he would decide, this is the one that I'm going to get tonight. And sometimes he would watch 2 or 3 victims at the same time, writing everything down about them. He wanted to know everything he could about the victims from watching them from the outside in. So there was no surprises, but it didn't always work. He was surprised a couple of times, but he would watch them for weeks on end. Question number 6. What job did Dennis Rader have that gave him time and ability to hunt his victims? Was it A, a mountain lion tamer, B, lead singer of Jefferson Starship, C, home security installer, or D, door-to-door salesman for Kirby vacuum cleaners? Yes, he did. He most definitely did have a cool down period. His journals rivaled the hellish works of Dante. Very good point. The seclusion works. Very good point. Yes, he definitely had a cool down period. We'll get into that tonight, what he did after each and every one of the murders. That is going to come up later in the trivia. Question 6, though. What did Dennis Rader do that gave him the time and ability to hunt his victims? True. Seclusion works. Later, an inspections code officer for the city. Kirby will make your house a home. I actually have a 1955 Kirby vacuum cleaner. I kid you not. This is a vacuum cleaner and so much more. It has a paint attachment so you can paint your house with it. It has a knife sharpener, scissors sharpener that you can add, attachment that you can add to the vacuum cleaner. There's like, it's got like 12 different things you can add to it. You can actually turn your Kirby vacuum cleaner into a shampooer as well. When me and my wife were first married, it was one of the gifts that we got from her father. He's a very neurotic individual who is really into buying things and getting things and restoring them as a complete package. So we got this giant, like, heavy box from him, and that was what's inside it. We still have it to this day. It still works. We never use it, but because 90% of our house is hardwood floor, but we do have one room that is carpet. A Kirby vacuum cleaner, they'll run and last forever. I mean, that thing was made in the 1950s and it still works today just as well as it did then. All right. The correct answer to question 6, though, is C as in cat. He was a home security installer for ADT. ADT was the name of the company that he worked for, installing home security systems. And some of the people that he installed security systems for had gotten them because they were afraid of the B.T.K. killer. Yes. Are you serious, Will? The Swiss knife of cleaners? Honey, I need a sharpen my knives, get the cleaner, right? Yeah, I'm absolutely serious. You can Google pictures of the 1950s and 60s Kirby vacuum cleaners. The handle comes off it, and the motor has a like a sling that you can put over your shoulder, and then you can set it on the counter and sharpen your knives or scissors or turn it into a paint sprayer. It's got everything. Not joking about that at all. All right. Did you know, years before Dennis Rader was caught, law enforcement had his complete DNA profile. When it was matched to his daughter's, where they got her DNA from a pap smear, that she had done at her, I think it was her university where she was going. They believed the lab had made a mistake when it came back that the B.T.K killer was none other than Dennis Rader. Again, in his community where he was a pillar of the community, and everyone looked up to him. He was a church-going man, and lived a quiet life. He worked hard, raising his family, and volunteered outside of his church. On top of that, from every thing that they looked into him, he just seemed like the all-American man. Question number 7. According to the FBI, how many victims have been confirmed to have been killed by Dennis Rader? Is it A, 144,000, B, 10, C, 20, or D, 14? According to the FBI, how many victims have been confirmed to have been killed by Dennis Rader? Question number 7 of 20. All right. Question number 7. The correct answer is B, 10. Just 10. The FBI says that he killed 10 people. Just 10. I personally believe his count is higher, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Question 8. How did Dennis Rader often gain entry to his victims' homes besides his work with ADT as a security installer? Was it A, he posed as a repairman, B, Amazon delivery person, C, pizza delivery, or D, he posed as a police officer? Question 8 of 20. How did Dennis Rader often gain entry to his victims' homes besides his work as an ADT security installer? We got some A's and some D's. Kitty Coo, A. Deanna Marie. Going with D. Inclusion works. D. Dennis Rader. How did he gain entry to the victims' homes? All right, question 8. The correct answer is A as in apple. Dennis Rader would pose as a repairman, either someone from the gas company, the electric company, or other things. He would get a clipboard and and a work shirt, and he looked like he was there to do some kind of repair work, so he could gain entry to the home where the neighbors wouldn't question why that person was there at that time. But he posed as a repairman. Question number 9. What religious role did Dennis Rader hold at his local church? Was it A, he was a preacher, B, president of the church council, C, a janitor, or D, accounts payable or clerk? What religious role did Dennis Rader hold in his local church? Lemon pie. Good evening, lemon pie. Candygram. I hope you had a great weekend, lemon pie. I'm glad you could be here tonight with us to play trivia. Question number 9 of 20. What religious role did Dennis Rader hold in his local church? Lemon pie. He was a gospel singer. I don't think he's a good singer, but you never know. I mean, maybe he was. All right. Question 9. The correct answer is B as in boy. He was the president of the church council. Yes. Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. One of the roles and jobs as president of the church council was to help people when they were in a crisis. Maybe they were having a crisis of faith or something along those lines, and they would come to none other than Dennis Rader, to talk about their problems. He was president of the church council. Wouldn't that be creepy? I'm having some issues. What can you help me, Mr. Rader? Yeah, why don't you tell me all about your problems? And that man turned out to be a serial sexual sadist killer. A sexual sadist killer. Number 10 of 20. Dennis Rader was a trophy hunter. Which item from below did Dennis Rader collect from each victim? Each and every victim that he killed, he collected these items of them or from them. Was it A, state issued driver's license or ID card? B, underwear? C, jewelry? Or D, photos of each of them dead? Used the computer at the church for his last missive. He used the church computer for a lot of things, and that is one of the things that got him all caught up. He was toying with the police department, and law enforcement, and egging them on and telling them that he was never going to stop, and they were never going to catch him. And then he asked them, "Can you trace, a computer disk if I sent you, my letters that way?" And they said no, which of course was a lie. And they did, and they were able to trace it back to the church itself. And only 3 people had access to the church computer: Dennis Rader, the minister for the church, Lutheran church that he went to, and a small little 98-year-old woman. They were the only 3 that had access to the computer. It wasn't that hard to figure out. It wasn't the 98-year-old woman who was killing all these people. And the minister had an alibi for everything. Oh my gosh, it has to be this person. Not very bright. Jersey Shore memorabilia. All right. The correct answer to question number 10 of 20 is D as in dog. He took photographs of each and every one of his victims after he murdered them. He would keep these photos in a shoebox, and these photos were there for him to flip through anytime he wanted to. They were like his personal little scrapbook of photos of all of his victims. And he took multiples of each and every person. All right, it is time for our normal break after 10 questions. Now, at this time, I'm going to cover two cases of people from America that are missing and endangered from around the United States. The total break time is the next 7 minutes. But for the next 3 to 4 minutes, I'm going to be doing, covering these two cases. I'll even let you know if you want to stick around, and see these, or just take a 7 minute break. I am excited to share and I am collaborating with several incredible organizations to help raise awareness about missing and endangered individuals. These include the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which tirelessly works to locate missing children and prevent exploitation. The Charlie Project, an invaluable database documenting missing persons cases from across the United States, along with the FBI and local law enforcement agencies, and NAMUS. And starting in late part of 2025, I'll be working with the DOE network. Actually, update really quick here. Together, we aim to shine a light on these cases and support the families impacted and keep these stories alive in hope of bringing closure. Update. The DOE network missing cases will start on April 6th of 2025. I will highlight 4 high-profile active cases and 4 cold cases, all in the month of April. Instead of it being later on in the year, in the month of June, all of the work that I'll be doing with the DOE network will be in the month of April, the entire month, from the first stream of trivia to the last weekend of the month. I'll be highlighting all of the DOE network just that month. So the Charlie Project, NAMUS, and the FBI's missing and endangered will all wait until the following month. But the month of April, it will all be the DOE network. With that in mind, our first missing and endangered case is Donna K. Cloud. She is age 27 as of 2024. She was last seen on 10/25/2016 in Splendora, Texas. She is 5 foot tall, weighs about 130 to 135 pounds at the time that she disappeared. She has brown eyes, and she is covered in tattoos, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll show those on the next one here. These are other pictures of her to the left of the different hairstyle and makeup of how she looks. And then all of the other ones are of her tattoos. Starting from the left, the third one from the left, it says, it's like a Bible verse. Then it says in the middle says faith. On her fingers, she has a diamond on one finger, a cross on another. On her neck area, she has a crown, and then all the way to the far right, she has another tattoo that is on her wrist, but we don't know exactly what that is because it doesn't appear listed on anything else. She has no criminal record, so nobody actually, noted down all of her tattoos. She was apparently traveling between Kenora, Texas, and Houston, Texas, but her trail ended in West Chase area of Houston just after 1 p.m. on the October 27th. Again, go back. So, okay, she was last, her positive known is October 27th. But again, you'll see here that, that is 2 days after her last actual appearance. So she was reported missing by her family, but 2 days later, we know she was still alive and in the West Chase area in Texas at approximately 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The tip line you can go to leave if you know anything about it is 936-760-5800. Or you can go if you want to. The link there is to the Charlie Project's posting about the case, and you can read more about it. There isn't a whole lot of detail out there that is known about it, other than She was there. She is a mother and of a small child, a girl, and she disappeared underneath suspicious circumstances and has never contacted her family, never accessed any of her bank accounts or anything after that day. October 27th at 1 o'clock was the last time anyone can confirm where she was. Did she just decide to move away? We don't know. Nobody knows for sure. But it has been listed as, disappearance underneath suspicious circumstances. The second one is Darla Lee Miller. Her maiden name, last name is Hall. Miller is her married name. She is 62 years of age as of 2024. Last seen on 6/1 of 1996. Vanished from Westland, Michigan. She is 5'2", 130 to 135 pounds, with blue eyes. No known tattoos, and unfortunately, this is the only known photo of Darla Lee Miller Hall. Not even her wedding photos or anything else are available to be added to a wanted poster or missing poster. Miller was last seen in Westland, Michigan, sometime during the summer of 1996 when she got into an argument on the phone with her son and disappeared. She has never been heard from again. Very few details are known about what may have happened. Her boyfriend, her husband, she was married but separated and dated another man, have both been cleared from having any involvement in her disappearance. She was just there and then poof, gone. If you know anything, you can leave a tip with the Westland Police Department at 734-722-9600. If you want to read a little more information about it, there's not much. You can click on that link there for Darla Lee Miller. Today's headline story does not have to mean forgotten tomorrow. Please help bring home Orrin and Orson West and others today. Again, as a reminder, Orrin and Orson West were ages of 4 and 3 at the time they were killed by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, who have been convicted of their murders, their deaths, but yet they refuse to tell authorities, where the remains are. We need to bring them home so the families can have closure. All right, you still have a little bit over 2 minutes left of the break, and then we'll be back to our regular content. Joe Tallchief, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Nope, no idea. All the searching that they've done, they have not brought home Orrin or Orson West. And as a family, they can never really get closure until they've been laid to rest. Both Jacqueline and Trezell are fighting their convictions and their appeals. That is why they won't tell anybody where their boys' remains are, because if they do, then, it's kind of hard to say that you didn't do it. Yes, it is definitely tragic that they have not been brought home yet. They should have been forced, Sprinkle Dawn says. Absolutely. All right. That is the end of our break. Without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11. How long of a gap was there between Rader's last known victim and his capture? Was it A, 10 years, B, 15 years, C, 14 years, or D, 11 years? I don't have that on front of me. Maybe somebody else in the comments section knows how long they got, Joe Tall Chief. Maybe somebody knows how much Trezell and Jacqueline got in prison. But I don't remember it off the top of my head. How many years was there between the last known victim and Dennis Rader's actual capture? Sprinkle Donut says he believes in a plea deal to learn where the bodies are. Maybe they can work something out like that. Maybe. Joe Tall Chief is going to Google it. Question number 11. The correct answer is C as in cat. 14 years between his last known victim and his actual capture. 14 years. Question number 12. Who was the last victim of the B.T.K killer, Dennis Rader? Was it A, Dolores Kilman, B, Dolores Smith, C, Dolores Danville, or D, Dolores Davis? Who was the last victim of Dennis Rader, the B.T.K killer? My peeps. Okay, ordered a pizza. I'm having tacos tonight. Tacos. My wife is making dinner, not me, obviously. I'm doing this. Question number 12 of 20. Who was the last victim of the B.T.K killer? Question number 12. Lita is going with B. So the exclusion works. Question number 12. The correct answer is D as in dog. Dolores Davis was the last victim of Dennis Rader. Dolores Davis. Question number 13. What was the fake name Dennis Rader used to taunt law enforcement in his letters? Was it A, Bill Thomas Kilman, B.T.K, B, Bob Turner Klein, B.T.K, C, Billy Tim Core, B.T.K, D, Bob Thomas Cater, B.T.K? What fake name did Dennis Rader use to taunt law enforcement in his letters? Question number 13 of 20. Just like Harmony Montgomery, she has never been found. I don't think. Another tragic case of a child, was murdered. I will never understand why anyone does anything like that to children at all. I just can't understand it. And I hope that I never do. Even if I had the answer written out, right in front of me of why people, harm children, it still wouldn't make sense to me. They both got life for the murders of classic in. Question number 13. The correct answer is A as in apple. Bill Thomas Kilman, B.T.K, is how he signed the letters that in taunting law enforcement. He signed them as Bill Thomas Kilman, B.T.K. Did you know Dennis Rader wanted to be known as the Garrote Phantom and not the B.T.K killer? To this day, he will not communicate with anyone in law enforcement if they ever refer to him as the B.T.K killer. Yes, the same man who signed his letters underneath a fake name and, so it's spelled out B.T.K, does not wish to be referred to as the B.T.K killer. He wants to be known as the Garrote Phantom. Garrote Phantom, not Garrote. Garrote. Question number 14 of 20. In 1979, Dennis Rader broke into a woman's home, according to his journal. She never returned when he was there. So what did he do? Was it A, he killed her neighbor instead? B, he took a nap? C, he just left in frustration? Or D, he made her dinner and set it out for her? 1979, Dennis Rader broke into a woman's home, according to his journal, and she never returned while he was there. So what did he do? Question number 14 of 20. Seclusion works. Left a note. Kitty Q is going with C? Question mark? I don't know. Could be. Could be C. How is Dennis Rader doing in prison? He seems like a control freak. He is. And he hates it because he doesn't have the option of living by his own rules anymore. Now he has to go and be where they tell him when they want to come in and tear his cell apart and search it for contraband, they do it. Whenever they want to let him out for rec, they do it. Whenever they decide that they want to, move him from place to place or change up the entire structure of his, prison life, they do it. He hates it because he was a control freak his entire life. I only have down she escaped because she came home late. This is another one, Kitty Coo, but there was a victim who did escape because she came home, later than she normally did. 1979. What happened when Dennis Rader broke into this lady's home and waited for her, and she never showed up? The correct answer is C, as in cat. He left in frustration. It walked out, closed the door, and never went back. He just crossed her name off of the list, and in his journal, he wrote that he didn't want to spend any time with her now because she didn't show up when she was supposed to. We don't know who that actual victim is other than a description of her and her home, which matched about a dozen other homes in the area. In the window that he was watching her through, and taking notes about her day-to-day life. We don't know why she didn't come home that night. Maybe she had a date. I don't know. Nobody knows. But that was in 1979. Question number 15 of 20. What did Dennis Rader do in his later murders to prolong the suffering of each of his victims? Was it A, he bound them in ways that slowly suffocated them? B, called them repeatedly beforehand? C, left them notes beforehand? Or D, poured salt into small knife cuts? Question number 15 of 20. What did Dennis Rader do in his later murders to prolong the suffering of each of his victims? Good evening, Purple, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you are doing well. I'm glad you could be here with us tonight. Joe Talchi says, needless to say, he's a sicko. Yes. Question number 15 of 20. I just looked up and saw your comment, lemon pie. So to prolong their suffering, Dennis Rader made them watch The View. Oh boy. What did Dennis Rader do to each of his murders to prolong their suffering? The correct answer is A, as in apple. He bound them in ways that where they would slowly suffocate. Question number 16. How many photographs of each and every victim did Dennis Rader take in sexually provocative staged positions? Was it A, 4, B, 10, C, 11, or D, 6? How many photographs of each and every victim did Dennis Rader take in sexually provocative staged photo positions? How many? I live alone. I'm not cooking pizza is good. There you go, my peeps. I like pizza too. Haven't had it in a while, but I like pizza. Question number 16 of 20. How many photographs of each and every victim did Dennis Rader take in sexually provocative stage positions? The correct answer to question number 16 is D, as in dog. 6. After he's killed each and every one of his victims, he bound them up, and then in sexually explicit, provocative, ways, and then took photos of them from different angles. And to answer your question, what that someone is bound to ask, how do they know that each and every one of the victims was dead? Well, we don't. We don't know that. And law enforcement, according to the FBI's own records, they believe that they were dead because, and we hope that they were dead, in some of these different ways, like their feet were bound, like hogtied behind their back with their hands going back to their and holding their ankles. And then he took photos of them and rolled them over, or distorted them in different ways, and then took photos of them all. But he took 6 photos of every single victim, and then he put them in that shoebox where he could go through it later on and relive each and every one of the murders. Did you know Dennis Rader confession to the 10 murders, he still wasn't done playing games with law enforcement. He gave them fake clues to as many as 3 more murders. However, those women were all alive and well. But he refused to stop playing the games, even after, getting convicted of the 10 murders. If that wasn't enough, he still wanted to play a game. And it's all a game, unfortunately, in his mind. All of it is a game because he doesn't believe that any of the lives that he took had any value at all. He is a sexual sadist. On one, he is also a psychopath. And he has been tested and he has been confirmed to be both. Those are not just people from the outside looking in on it and guessing that he may have those, that he is maybe a sexual sadist, and a psychopath. No, they have been tested and he has been confirmed by professionals in the field who have sat and talked with him. Question number 17 of 20. What did Dennis Rader immediately do after each and every murder that shocked even the seasoned investigators? Was it A, got ice cream from McDonald's? B, went and had a beer about it? C, took a shower in the victim's home? Or D, went home and played with his kids? What did Dennis Rader do immediately after each and every murder that shocked even seasoned investigators? Good evening, Mel. Well, you're more on time than those who haven't arrived yet, Mel. I hope you had a great weekend. Ooh, contractors will be there tomorrow at 8. Well, good luck. I hope it goes off without a hitch, Mel, and everything gets done correctly. But what did Dennis Rader do immediately after each and every one of the murders? We've got a little bit of everything here. A's, C's, D's. Well, the correct answer to question number 17 is B as in boy. He would go home and act as if nothing was abnormal about his day or what he had done, and sit down in the chair in the living room and drink a beer. He wasn't a big drinker, but he would have a beer about it, and think about all of the fun he just had. And that is, from his actual journal that he wrote in there, that he would just sit and think about it and act normal because it was normal to him. Being, a psychopath, he was unable to make that connection, to what he had just done. He would just like, it's nothing. It's like I took the trash out. Well, to him, it was something as mundane as that. You're having a crazy weekend, too much work. Oh, Mel, I hope it gets done though, so you can get back to somewhat of a normal existence. Watching all seasons of 2.5 Men, even the ones with Ashton Kutcher, is what he did afterwards. Oh no. Question number 18. What was ultimately the sentence handed down to Dennis Rader for the 10 murders he was convicted of? Was it A, probation for 10 years, B, 10 life sentences, C, 1 sentence of natural life without parole, or D, 250 years plus the death sentence? What was ultimately the sentence handed down to Dennis Rader for the 10 murders he was convicted of. Yep. Mel, you're absolutely right. Committing these horrific murders, torturing these people, the whole thing, all of it was just normal course of a normal day for him. Nothing abnormal at all. So sitting down and having a beer about it was just the next normal thing in his day. But even I think I read, it might have been part of an actual interview with his daughter, who she said that Daddy wasn't that much of a big drinker. Every once in a while he'd have one. Well, every once in a while when he had one, he had just gotten done committing murder. $10 years is nothing. Question number 18 of 20. What was the ultimate sentence handed down for Dennis Rader for the 10 murders? The correct answer is B as in boy. He was given 10 life sentences to run end to end to end to end to end. Not that he's going to outlive one of the life sentences, but if he was to somehow live, 100+ years, he still would be in prison because he'd still have to do more life sentences. Harmless little plug, as I always do. Again, merch store. I do have merchandise, coffee mugs and t-shirts and stuff in the merch store. Question number 19 of 20. What items were found in Dennis Rader's work van, his personal truck, and in his wife's car from below? Was it A, underwear and TP toilet paper? B, butterscotch and strawberry candies? C, tape, ski mask, and rope? Or D, plastic bags and boxes of film? What items from Dennis Rader's work van, his personal truck, and his wife's car from below were found when they searched them? Obviously, they didn't find them without searching them. What item from the list below? According to his daughter, he was a very loving father. I saw the interview where she talked about him. I think it was like leading up to the book deal. But she seems like a really nice lady, his daughter. What items were found in the van, his truck, and his wife's car? Question number 19 of 2020. All right. The correct answer to question number 19 is C as in cat. Tape, a ski mask, and a rope. The perfect bind, torture, and kill murder kit was found in his work vehicle, his personal truck, and his wife's car. And she swore up and down she never saw those items when the police department questioned her, because they were in a bag inside of the trunk of her car. In his truck, the items, another set of them, were found underneath the passenger side storage area underneath the seat. In his work van, for when he was doing installation work for ADT, that is the van that the company owned that he had the use of. He never had to check it back in except for when it did maintenance. But the tape, ski mask, and rope was found again in that van, and it was underneath the driver's side, cubby area that is next to the seat itself, right behind it from the back seat, back area of it. Question number 20 of 20. What did Dennis Rader do when he was confronted with the mounting evidence law enforcement had? Was it A, he tried to escape jail? B, he confessed to every murder? C, he asked for a lawyer? Or D, he asked to phone a friend, a lifeline? What did Dennis Rader do when confronted with the mounting evidence that law enforcement had? They may not be directly trying to be cruel to him, but any kind of restriction on somebody who is like Dennis Rader, where everything in his life to that point of being incarcerated was done on his terms, in his way, and his time schedule. Now everything is done by their schedule and when they want to do something. And that to him is cruel. Claimed it was racism. When confronted with the law, mounting pile of evidence law enforcement had, Dennis Rader claimed it was racism. You're picking on the white man. Mel says, I think it's B, but I'm not sure. Purple's going with B. Well, question number 20 of 20. The correct answer is, in fact, B. B as in boy. He confessed to every single one of the murders. And just then, when they started going through all the evidence that they had, all of his letters, his DNA, and they laid it all out on the table for him, he looked at the three detectives and said, okay, you got me. I am the B.T.K. killer, and he confessed to every single one of them. Later on, after his confession that day, they served a search warrant on his home, his vehicles, the church, everywhere that Dennis Rader, had normally been. And that's when they stumbled upon the box of photographs of every single one of the victims, along with his journals and everything else that tied up the entire case with a pretty little bow on it. He was guilty. He confessed. He had the evidence, everything. And it blew a lot of these detectives, and law enforcement who really did not believe that he was the man. But I thought he asked everyone who wanted to interview him to fill out an application. He does now. Anybody who wants to correspond with him, he does now. Mel, you're just like John Wayne Gacy. You have to fill out an application to correspond with him. All right, Dennis Rader was and still is a very sick man. He has refused any mental health help and will not take medications for his delusions. Let us all just be happy that he's behind bars in the El Dorado Correction Facility, abbreviated to EDCF, in Kansas City. He is in what's called administrative segregation, or ADSEG. That is where he is right now. He does not have the ability to move around the prison, like he would want. Inmates in the administrative segregation have restrictions on what they're allowed to buy off of commissary. There are restrictions on when he can go places and what he can do and who he can correspond with. Every person who writes or visits him or he calls them, every single one of his calls is recorded and monitored, and every letter that comes in and every letter that goes out is read, opened and read. He gave up those rights when he was found guilty and when he committed the crimes. How did you do tonight on tonight's trivia? This is completely optional. Some people like to give themselves a letter grade, but you don't have to. We are only here for entertainment and educational purposes. So this is completely optional if you wish to give yourself, a letter grade. A, B, C, D, or E, other, rock star status. You're all rock stars to me. Sneak peek at the poll question that I put on YouTube on the community tab every Monday. I put a new poll question out. You are now going to get a 24-hour advance notice, early sneak peek at the poll question that will be on Monday, by 10 a.m. This week's poll question is, should any prisoner be placed in administrative segregation for their protection? Yes, no, maybe, depends on the prisoner, or D, no opinion. I do like Pokemon, though. B.T.K is filled with self-importance, says Mel. Well, he definitely believes he is. The only person I know a lot about is Christopher Watts, because I was so shocked about the murder, says Joe Tallchief. Steven Wilson's band 3011 had a song called Rader 2 about Dennis. I did not know that. Steven Wilson's band. Huh. I didn't know that, Kitty Q. I know there have been several others who've done content about him. I know he was the inspiration for a doll, like a plushie doll. Somewhere here on one of these shelves, I've got the one of the plushies for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't see it right now, though. I thought it was out in the open here. But yeah, there is an actual plushie of Dennis Rader, and it actually comes with it's like it's probably only about 8 or 9 inches tall. And I know he's been the inspiration for certain characters in television and movies. I never followed the Watts case. I wasn't into true crime back then, says Mel. And unfortunately, I know way too much about Christopher Watts and his crimes. That's sick POS. Let nature take its course. A sprinkled donut on the poll question for the week. So next week, trivia was suggested by Cement Shoes. Next week's trivia, Stephen King's A Good Marriage. The way inspired A Good Marriage. Stephen King is one trippy dude. I've never met him personally, but I know quite a few people who have gone to and met him at different, I don't want to say conventions, but book signings, I guess, where he read part of his book and then signed copies. The Chainsaw Massacre house is a restaurant now, is it? Ew. Did not know that either. Is a perfect example of a sadist. He definitely checks all the boxes, Mel. But Stephen King, he doesn't even live in his house in Bangor, Maine anymore. Him and his wife have moved. The new owners have done some alterations to the gate and to the fence that surrounds the property. Purple, you're taking off. You as well. You'll have a great week ahead. Remember, you never know who's going to be knocking at your door or standing next to you next. Very true, Purple. Yeah. Imagine that though, you're Stephen King, you're walking along the road and you're reading, one of your books, and all of a sudden a 1970s Chevy van hits you from behind. And you damn near died from it. You go through multiple surgeries and years of pain and anguish over it. Did it stop him from doing it once he was able to walk and do it again? No. It didn't stop Stephen King from doing it. They moved. Do you know where they live now? Yeah, he lives next to Dean Koontz. I don't remember where it is off the top of my head, Mel, to answer your question. Do I know where he moved? But I know he lives wherever he does. He lives near Dean Koontz. So wherever Dean Koontz is, and he lives, that's where Stephen King lives. No, I don't know. Maybe he bought it later on, Kitty Q. But the white van that hit him, the guy that hit him, it was an accident. I mean, it wasn't like the guy was trying to run over Stephen King, but yeah, almost killed him, right? You ever want to read a really good book? Read Stephen King's book on how to become a writer and how to be a writer. I mean, the amount of cocaine that man put up his nose over the years is unbelievable. It's just think about the works that he has published. According to Stephen King, he has like over 300 books that he's written, and that have either in one stage of being finished or another. But over 300. And that's not even counting the ones that he's already released. Used to love Koontz. Do you know that Stephen King still writes 8 hours a day? Yeah. That's one of the things that he talks about in his book on how to be a writer. I don't have that one here, out here. I have one Dean Koontz book. I have that Demon Seed. I used to have Insomnia. I still do. I have Insomnia on the bookshelf. I was like, one of my favorite books is why it's out here. Sometimes when I'm waiting for people to get back to me, email or phone calls or whatever, when I'm researching cases, I pick up a book and I read it, There's a lawyer from Michigan. His name is Steve Leto, and he has written this book, American Murder Houses. Steve Leto. And he's a lawyer, a real lawyer in the state of Michigan. But he also, and see that I have it actually autographed by him. But he practices lemon law, but he also has a YouTube channel, very popular YouTube channel, by the way. But he does live streams every Sunday morning. But he's written books about the American murder houses, and for those who are into automotive, he wrote a book about the turbine car His brother helped restore Jay Leno's turbine car, but he's written about the mass the damn it, I know I was right there on the tip of my mind. It was a murder that a stampede of individuals in Minnesota, Joe Tall Chief, where it was a union meeting and someone walked into the union meeting and yelled fire. And there was only one exit and one entrance because the other doors were locked. And a bunch of people died because they got stampeded, on the way out. There was no fire. But that took place up in the Iron region, of northern Minnesota. But it's escaping me the damn name of it now, though. But he's written about that, and inmates that where the individual was wrongfully convicted, and sentenced to life in prison for a murder they never committed, and they always stuck to their truth, that they didn't do it and they weren't there, and later on they were exonerated, and they proved that the law enforcement had, unfortunately had set them up to be convicted. Sal, good evening, Sal. Will and everyone, I'm sorry I missed tonight. I'm not feeling great. I'll be here next week, though. Well, good, Sal. Well, I hope that your health improves in the meantime. But back to the person who walked into the union hall and yelled fire. All right, it's called The Truth Behind the Italian Hall Murder Disaster. The Union Hall disaster. That took place in upper Minnesota. The Iron Range. But it's written by the same guy. I mean, he's written books on multiple different subjects. But that's just one of the many books, that I've already read that one. It's a pretty good book. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 9. It's that good of a book. That one, I haven't actually physically read that copy. I have another copy in the house that I bought off of Amazon, but this one is a signed edition and personalized to me. So I keep it here. And he sells them and ships them himself. You can also, like I said, you can get them on Amazon. But that's why they curtailed the free speech. You can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. Well, you can't go into a union hall and yell fire. Yeah, you have the right to say whatever you want in that aspect, but you can't do it in certain situations that's going to cause harm in that aspect. Not harm, like, oh, you hurt my feelings. I gotta tell you guys about this though. Y'all may not care about this little tidbit at all. So I bought a brand new microphone. I did. Not that there's anything wrong with the one that I'm using right here, right now, but I bought another one because I wanted one that had like a retro look to it. I bought this microphone. It is a vintage microphone that has been redone with all the guts inside of it. It has been brought up from a 1950s microphone to today's standards. And it's supposed to go on this stand, just like the one I'm using now. And you know what doesn't fit? It's the little tiny brass adapter that goes in there that actually will stop it from shocking me if I touch it. It doesn't fit. So I have to send the damn thing back. I spent about $300 to have this damn thing rebuilt, and they did something, in cleaning it up, and the damn brass fitting doesn't fit in it anymore. It just falls right out. One can't have too many microphones. All right. I probably have a dozen. There's one, so I'm using this one right here. There's another one about, well, it's about 3 feet, 4 feet away. That's behind the camera. But I was so livid, when I got this thing back from the company, and all the way in New York City. Get a rope, paste pecani sauce, but New York City. But it's where I had the company do it, rebuild it, and it don't work. And well, I mean, I guess I could hold it in my hand the entire time. And it's made out of metal. It's chrome. In case you're wondering what it's made out of. But I'm like, this little tiny little piece doesn't fit. I was so pissed. But you probably don't care about that. But I am back to microphones. So I have a whole bunch of them on the shelf. I just thought it'd be really cool to have a retro microphone like that. You need that microphone for one of your typewriter videos, right? And the typewriter is back there on that shelf. On that, well, it's not shelf. It's a table. There's a table back there. That's a copier, Bluetooth copier that's actually connected to this computer. It's across the room, but it sends everything via Bluetooth. And that's a typewriter right there where my finger is. Tripods, cans of air, compressed air for blowing out the dust out of the computers and stuff, and keyboards. I used to read 3 times as much now as I did before the internet. I still read a lot, Sal. Personally, I have probably 4 books that are on my nightstand, and before I go to bed each night, I always read something. What's the point of having a mic like that when you have to hold it, right? Exactly. I mean, I can't put it on the stand because this is another one of them, little brass pieces that goes inside there. Yeah, and I plugged it in, and I got the cables and everything sitting here. I plugged it in and everything else, and every time I touch it, it zaps you because it's not. This is part of the grounding. There's a little tiny piece that's inside the actual microphone that grounds to the actual stand, so you don't get zapped by it. And then the base of it's got. I'm sure you guys all know more about it than that. You're probably bored by it. We'll do a black and white video holding that mic, old school kind of video. I've done some black and whites before, Kitty Q, and like YouTube shorts. They weren't very well received, is the best way to put it. But I'm always willing to do more. I kind of like it, black and white, or change the to Chrome. It's a program, not the actual like Chrome as in like Google Chrome, but Chrome, the actual, it changes all the colors. Like this just in, coming straight from, I don't know, hello, it would be cool. Yeah, I like the idea. Now I read books online, just not the same though. I've every chance I get, Sal, I always buy the book. I don't read any books online now. That's just me though. My wife is constantly reading on her tablet, and so is my son. But I mean, I'm an old school. Printed word is important. That's why I had a bookstore for so many years. I enjoyed it, and even after I closed it down, I sold 90% of the business off the inventory. Had one guy who bought all the movies and DVDs and CDs and stuff. He loaded them up in a U-Haul truck along with the shelves and stuff like that. And then he didn't return the U-Haul. He parked it in the back of like his mother's house in the backyard or something like that. He got arrested later on, for something unrelated. But then they found the U-Haul truck that he never returned, and all that stuff, and that they were just going to toss it into the garbage. They didn't care what happened as long as they got their damn U-Haul back. I'm thinking about writing would be awesome, but I'm not a writer. You don't even have to really write anymore, Sal, to be good, to be a writer. They have programs now where all you do is just speak like I am right now, and it will put the words together, and then you just hit print, and you can print them out. Same thing with videos. And if you're not any good at editing or punctuation or anything at all, you can use AI. Sadly, it's the truth. AI, in these programs that are out there, they'll do everything for you. Meep, you would love to own a bookstore. I did for quite a few years. And an actual physical brick and mortar store. But it got to the point where a lot of the distributors, people, where I was actually getting my inventory from, were closing down. I don't know if anybody remembers Hastings Bookstore, or if they had them in your area. But when Hastings Bookstore couldn't stay open anymore, the writing was on the wall for a while before they closed. But it was we took a hard look at at it. If I could, I would open up another bookstore tomorrow, but I wouldn't be open to the general public. It would be by appointment only, and I would deal nothing in but rare books and manuscripts. But when Hastings closed, that was pretty much the writing was on the wall. It's like if a large bookstore like that couldn't survive, and then Barnes and Noble was closing left and right. But I never bought from Barnes and Noble. I actually sold a lot through their platform. I was a fulfillment agent through them, and through Amazon, and along with Alvarez and Abe Books and Half Price Books. I was a fulfillment agent through for them. We had a big Hastings here. Yeah, they're all gone now. Yeah. Look it up, Kitty Coon. There's quite a few different programs out there that do writing for you. All you got to do is just talk, or you can record it, dictate it to a recorder, and then play it to the actual program itself, and it'll print out exactly what you want. And then you can, and if you ever decide to put it into a book form, you could include photos and everything else. And then why go out and actually go the normal route of getting a publisher, and an editor and all that? I mean, if you get it edited and put the pictures together, there are quite a few different companies out there that do print on demand. And that is how Chad Daybell got all of his books published. There wasn't anybody knocking on Chad Daybell's book, door saying, "Oh, please, Chad, would you write another shitty book?" Amazon is now one of the largest print on demand book publishers. You go on Amazon and buy a book, you don't even know if they have it in inventory anymore. They may have, if you buy it new, you can't buy, I mean, if it's used, if they actually probably have it, or if someone else is selling it and put it on a shelf somewhere, a third party, seller. But if you buy it new, It may not even exist. And then they print it on demand as somebody needs it and wants it. I used to love going to the bookstore. Now I live about 200 miles from one. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually have an old tape recorder that I bought. I bought some tapes so I could record his life as he tells it. That's cool as hell. Get what? I'm going to move this so if you hear a loud noise, don't be surprised. Try not to make any noise. I have several of these. I have one in my truck. I have one next to my bed, and I have this one obviously right here in my studio. It's a digital recorder, and I can actually talk to it, and I can record up to 6 hours of conversation, and it is crystal clear. This one is made by RCA. The other ones I think are made by Toshiba, but you can get them on Amazon for like $100. And you can record again up to 6 hours. It takes a little mini micro SD card on the inside. Now this one does. It's behind the battery itself, and it's rechargeable. This one is you plug it in with a cord and recharge it, but very handy. And then all I have to do is just I don't use the voice to text or programs, but you can. But I record like conversations like, oh, I want to have this. I have an idea for a video or a series, and that's what I do with them. And then I play them back. A guy on YouTube reads some of Chad's books. They're hilarious. Is it? Chad Daybell published his own books. Will? Yes. Well, he didn't. He had. It's called print on demand. There's a small publisher who that's all he does is he prints books on demand for Chad Daybell, and then Chad took them in and around areas where there is a large population of Latter-day Saints, and he populated college bookstores and other small independent bookstores with the copy. Basically, look here. It cost me $10 to have this book made. You sell it for 15. You keep 250. I get 250 on top of the price. So, sell it for $15. We split the profit over the publishing cost. That's how it works. Amazon, they print the book on demand for someone. Say if Kitty Q wants to make a picture book, of her dad's life, she can go ahead and do that and then put the whole thing together. I mean, and think all of this this entire print on demand book business, the entire thing got started in the 1960s here in America. Well, that's when it really took off. And it had nothing to do with people printing books about, Chad Daybell's, content, stuff like that. It was cookbooks. That's how it all started, was people publishing cookbooks. Like churches wanted to make an annual calendar or a cookbook to raise funds for something that they were doing at their church, buy new pews or whatever it might have been. All right. And that's where they started off as a little grassroots. Somebody said, okay, I can make a quality book, because I have the ability to to print it, and I have access to a printer. All I gotta do is find somebody who can bind it all. And so they started using like 3-ring binders, and then those improved to something along that lines, and then it became like an actual book. And then other people are like, well, we could probably print something else. It's not a cookbook. And then it took off from there. Do you know that part of the Daybell house that is taller than the rest? Their small publishing company was set up in there. The Daybell home is gone. But I did not know that, Mel. The Daybell home, I believe, has been bulldozed to the ground, and the people who bought the farm from his attorney, because he had to put it up as insurance to pay his legal bills. Um, the people who bought it plan to turn it into a small memorial park, what I understand. But I do believe I may even have copies of the home that is being bulldozed and the outbuildings. So it's gone. My father won an award for a book he wrote, Brother Wolf. That's cool, Joe Tall Chief. That's really cool. Like everything that's worth pursuing, writing requires a lot of practice. Yeah. One of these days, you might hear of my daughter as a publisher, as a writer. She's always writing. You know the house, the Daybell house is gone. That's cool. I I may, for some reason in my mind, I remember that the house was going to be bulldozed or was, and I have pictures of it. I think I actually probably got them off of East Idaho News, where maybe they shared them out. Because I follow, East Idaho News and subscribe to their YouTube and stuff. Chad was another sicko. He buried the children where he could see the graves from his kitchen and bedroom windows. Yeah, he definitely is. He was forced into it by Lori. Whatever. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia night there. Again, I want to thank everyone for being here. If you would, on the way out, if you haven't already, would you hit the like button? If you're watching this afterwards, leave a comment down below as well. Hit the like button. That's all I ask, is for you to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to be notified about the next content that I put out. There will be, 2 videos this coming week, plus the poll question that comes out on Monday. I'm not sure which days this week the actual videos will be out there, but I have like 5 or 6 of them that are in edit. And there will be additionally on top of those 2, there is a channel member only video coming out. Again, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And I hope that you have a terrific week and you're able to, stay safe and warm and out of the elements. And I hope for all those out there who are under the weather, please, I pray that your health improves so you can, your life can improve. Because without your health, you don't have much. I've been there myself. When you're sick, it sucks. All right, everyone, you have a great one. Bye.